So we went on camp, which was a phenomenal experience. It didn't start great. We had to go up about 2:30 in the morning on the Sunday, and we had a 6 o'clock flight. Everything was swimmingly in the airport, and we were on the plane in time. And then at 7:30, we were still sat on the runway, which was less than ideal because we were hoping that we would sort of be there midday. We could go and collect his bikes that we were hiring, and then there was a meeting at 4 o'clock to sort of welcome us to the camp, and then we were swimming at 5. So we thought we'd have loads of time, bit of dinner, and 7:30 the captain come out and said, "I'm very sorry, but this plane is broken." So we actually thought it was going to be a really long time, but because they didn't want us waiting, probably because they didn't want to give us a refund, but anyway, because they didn't want us waiting, amazing news, we stole another plane. So the captain said that we were having another plane that was meant to be going to Lisbon, but we would all have to go in convoy through the airport. Weird experience, like 200 passengers, full crew, walking in a straight line all the way through the terminal to the opposite side of the airport. So we got on the flight, everything was swimmingly. When we did get there, it was fantastic. We managed to get us bikes. We caught up with a campmate who we were with last year for a bit of dinner, and then we had the meeting. And of the 18 people on camp, about 12 of us or 10 of us were from last year. So we knew most people who were on camp, and it was fantastic. So we woke up day one and it rained. Second swim done, first official day, and it's raining. Basically like being in Britain, but not as cold. So bike is at a bit of a halt. We're going for a little run first and hope that it clears up by the afternoon. It rained and it rained and it rained and it rained a little bit more. So we got up, we had a swim, that was no problem. So they said, you know what, instead of going on his bikes all day today, we're going to go for a little run. So we did some run intervals, absolutely trashed me. We sort of did an hour. They partnered us up, they had us doing various different things. And they said, I tell you what, have a bit of dinner, you got 20 minutes, we're heading out on the bikes. And we were just freezing cold and soaked wet through, and the ground wasn't very safe. So they brought us all back and they put us in the gym instead and just absolutely battered us with some sort of HIIT session instead, which is all good spirits. So when we woke up on Tuesday and it was still raining, everyone was just a little bit demoralised. You can't complain, we were in Mallorca, but you sort of go for the sunshine, and then that wasn't what we got. So we swam, and then the coaches said, we're not doing the bike ride if it's going to rain, it looks like it's going to be better this afternoon. So we put us wetsuits on. So we've had more rain. So swim this morning, same time as normal, bit of breakfast, and then... So we're doing another pool swim, but in our wetsuits. So it's going to be at least a 2-man battle now to get me into this wetsuit. Dad's in his already. So we're going to do a pool swim in the wetsuits to practice some open water drills. And then this evening we've got a sea swim. Here's Dad, wetsuit ready. And then with a bit of luck, we can actually go cycling this afternoon. It's made us want to clear up, but weather looks fine from tomorrow onwards, so fingers crossed. And we had a pool session, which was fantastic. We got to try some open water drills, but I've never been so beat up by people who apparently are my friends in my life. I ended up with loads of bruises because they basically said if you touch someone, like drag them back or, dunk them, and people were mean. So we finally got out on his bikes, and it was a really long day, actually. I thought we'd just nip out for an hour or so, but we were out, we did sort of 40 miles, we did hill reps, and I just didn't have enough food, and I was grumpy and hungry by the end of the day, but fantastic. And then just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, absolutely could not complain. Sun has come out, so we're going cycling. Up in the morning, we had a sea swim one day, pool swimming, sort of getting video analysis on my techniques, so I had things to concentrate on. Massive swims, and yeah, big bike rides, hill reps. We did time trials. We did a mountain day. Fantastic. I love descending, so that was all good fun as well. And everyone on camp was just fantastic. Like I couldn't have been with better people for the week. Apart from if we would have added some of the extra people from last year as well. Brilliant week. One thing that is a massive challenge is getting in a wetsuit. That's one thing that I've learned this week. Fast. When you're already been wet because you've already been in the pool, that is a challenge. So we had a fantastic week. We did a few runs off the bike. My runs started to get a little bit more consistent, started to feel really quite strong. Saturday was the 312. So sort of Thursday afternoon we had to register. Friday we still did the bike as normal. We ran a 5k afterwards down the beachfront, which was lovely. Saturday morning, my alarm went off about 4:30.
What time is it, Dad?
Too early.
It's 5 a.m.
It's 4:50.
We're dressed in our matchy shirts. We got no matchy socks. We're ready for the 3-1-2.
And of the people on camp, there was a few of us who were doing it. So, but me and Dad were together in the start pen. So we had to ride about 2 miles to the start, even though the start was right outside his hotel, but we were way at the back because we were doing the 167. So that's 167 kilometres. For anyone who's not done the 3-1-2 race before, it was a race that I think historically went the whole way around the island of Mallorca, but it doesn't do that anymore because Palma were a bit upset, I think, that they were basically shutting down the city for the day. So it just goes around the northern part of the island now. So there's the 167, which is a big loop, and then the 225, which is a little addition onto it, and then the 3-1-2, which is an extra little addition onto it, or not so little addition as it would be. But the 167 takes in all the mountains. So the first 100 kilometres basically were mountainous. So we were up at 4:30, breakfast at 5. We had to be at the start sort of for 6 o'clock. It was dark. It was interesting. It was dark, but it was fantastic. It was almost horrendously organised and wonderfully organised as well. Like there was no accidents at the start, and it should have been chaotic, but it really wasn't. You know, people understand the risks when you're on a bike, and that first 20k you get absolutely sucked along. The draft from having hundreds, if not thousands, of cyclists around you was unreal. I was barely pedalling. I was doing 45 kilometers an hour. It was unreal. And then you hit the base of the mountains, and all speed disappears for the next 80k. And there were some massive mountains. It was the most elevation I've ever climbed in a single day. But me and Dad rode the whole thing together. We got separated briefly at points, but not really. We had a little stop at the aid station, a little sandwich and a can of Coke. And then basically once you hit the 100 kilometre mark, it's pretty undulating until maybe 30k to go. And then it's just good tarmac, flat. You just sit on the back of a train and just ride. And it was a really great way to end the trip, I think. I would like to do it again. It's just really quite difficult to get into, but phenomenal. You get back, there's a little tent with pasta in for all the finishers, and some of the other campers come to us. One of the other girls, some of the other people who'd done the camp, we met in there as well. So we just generally had like a really great experience. And then we had a great night out with the guys on the last night, a bit of food, they do like a little presentation, how everybody's done. And yeah, generally got a great experience. I think if I was to say what the highlight of my trip would be, I think is a bit of a tricky one. From a point of view of my races, just the sheer volume of training. I clocked up about 45 hours, maybe a little bit more over the week. That's what my watch clocked up. So obviously that does include, some of the stoppage time where I didn't pause it and whatever and we were waiting. But as a rule, I was sort of out for about 45 hours. I did about 15k of swimming, 500 kilometres-ish of cycling, and then not that much running, to be honest, maybe like 30k maybe of running. But the highlight has to be the sheer volume of training and the hard training. Like, yeah, when you're riding in a group, it's a little bit easier when you're at the back, don't get me wrong, but they were pushing us. We were cycling round, we were getting round, taking turns at the front quite quickly, because once you're in the wind, they were just hammering through us. We were working really hard, and then they'll just throw in hill reps. You'll ride in 45 minutes, and then they'll be like, right, just go up and down this hill 4 times. Or you'll get somewhere and they say, there's a 12-mile time trial now. Or you'll ride somewhere and they'll go, this is a 3k climb. Just go up to the top and come back down again. Or you're going to ride up to 7, you're going to ride 7 kilometres up this mountain, then turn around and ride back down again, and then go right up to the top. The sheer volume of training, I felt myself fitter when I came back. I felt the benefits of being there. From a what did I enjoy the most point of view, it has to be the people. I had a phenomenal time with some of the best people, and people that I think it's like a week of people actually caring about your Strava segments, and none of the rest of the world cares the rest of the year. So that was really nice. And some of the people, as I've said, were on camp last year. So we've known these people, we've sort of followed these people for 12 months now, and I really hope that it will be something that maybe we do again next year or another year where the same sort of people go, because they're really great people to train with, they're really great people to crack on with, they're really great people to share an evening meal with, and it was fantastic. Journey home, nondescript. It was nice to be back. Got back Sunday, and what I will say is I thoroughly did not enjoy going back to work on Monday. But I've got a rubbish t-shirt tan line, I look like I've still got my shorts on. So all in all, I would consider it a success.